Why did the University of Georgia football team have 15 players going to NFL draft? I'm going to tell you that in a few seconds. Welcome to Coach One Sports. Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. Yes, I had to let the smoke and the dust, all that clear a little bit after the draft. I wanted all the prognosticators and all these guys that sit in front of these shows on the weekends and tell you who's the greatest and why, and everybody give their description of what happened and why so many guys got drafted that a lot of people knew about, but maybe some people didn't know about. Well, I just want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you why University of Georgia had 15 players get drafted, the most ever in the 7 rounds of the NFL draft, which started back in 2004, 7 rounds. Okay, Ohio State had 14. Also in 2020, LSU had 14. But those Georgia Bulldogs broke the record. So if you enjoy the show, please, hey, take some time. Make sure that you like, comment. I do respond to the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe. Go ahead, hit that button. It's free. Don't cost you nothing. But make sure you enjoy the show. I got some great information for you. And so for all those coaches out there, all those fans that enjoy sitting in the coach's seat, have that whistle around the neck, and want to talk about why it happened, let's go ahead and hit on that now. So welcome to Coach One Sports. Well, sports fans, salute. I salute Coach Kirby Smart, his defensive staff, his offensive staff. Okay? They did a magnificent job of recruiting these young men and getting them to UGA, getting them up to Athens, convincing them to be a part of the brotherhood, to be successful. And even after the SEC championship game, when things went sour for them, they rose to the occasion. They came back together. They prepared for sudden change. Okay, they prepared for sudden change and made some things happen. And they were able, as Coach Saban always says, create higher value for themselves. And I definitely want to give accolades and kudos, okay, to all of those coaches on that staff, because it might never, ever be done again. And I want to go ahead and say that because it needs to be said. 15 players, 15. The first 5 were defensive players. That's never, ever been done in the history of the NFL draft. 5 players from one school. I think one year, maybe Miami had 3 players, or it might have definitely been Clemson one year that had 3 players go, defensive players go, but never 5 in the first round. So here, let me go ahead. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why this happened. Okay. And as I go down this hit list, I want to go ahead and just tell you there is a common denominator in what happened. First thing happened was when you look at, does size matter in football? Yes, it does. But guess what Coach Smart showed us? When you talk about the draft, there's always been this cliche that stars don't matter. Doesn't matter if you're a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. It doesn't mean you're going to make it in the NFL, but it does mean if you bust your butt and you play with unselfish, relentless animosity and strength and courage, that you got a chance to get drafted and become a team player at one of the biggest universities in America. So stars do matter. So of those 15 guys, watch this, of the 15 guys that were drafted by University of Georgia, 6 of those guys were 5 stars. That's right. You heard me say it right now. 6 were 5 stars. Okay. So for people that say it doesn't matter, well, evidently it probably did matter in this case, because collectively as a defense and as an offense, those guys who were at the top of the food chain from the states that they came from, they were able to find their way to Athens, Georgia. And listen, Coach Smart did a wonderful job, masterful job of getting these guys to buy in. And that was the product of what happened, creating value for yourself. Okay. Jordan Davis, People talk about Jordan Davis. Was he a 5-star? No, he was not a 5-star. Okay. Trayvon Walker, first-round draft pick. Was he a 5-star? Yes, he was a 5-star. George Pickens, was he a 5-star? Yes, he was a 5-star. Also, Nakobe Dean. People don't realize it. Nakobe Dean was a 5-star coming out of Mississippi. That's right, you heard it. That means he was at the top of the food chain in Mississippi coming out. And for those that say, once again, stars don't matter, they did in the NFL draft for 2022. Next guy I want to bring in who was also a 5-star in that group was, guess who? Jamari Sawyer. Okay, 5-star from Atlanta, Jamari Sawyer. Another person that was definitely a 5-star, Darion Kendrick. Interesting point about Darion Kendrick, transferred over from Clemson. He was the MVP of the Orange Bowl. Another interesting fact about him, he came over from Clemson where they had won a previous national championship, but he came over, got in some trouble at Clemson and, got in the doghouse. And listen, they're kids, they're young men, kids going to young men. And, he had some problems, some boo-boos occurred. He made a change. Coach Kirby welcomed him with open arms. He fought for a spot, was in the rotation. And in 3 years of football, he had 7 interceptions. Now, what does that mean? A fascinating talent. More importantly, he was given another chance to become successful and create that value for himself. I think it went well for him. He went to the Rams. I think you know who they are, reigning Super Bowl champions. Okay, so another 5-star. And I just watched this moving story about him when they did it on the draft. And Zamir White, Zeus nickname. Just the things that he had to overcome to be successful as a child being born. Okay, the doctor's telling his mother he wasn't going to make it, and the kid's picking on him because he had a cleft mouth, had a hole in his mouth and his lip, and he had to have that stuff repaired. The kids picked on him, having difficulties eating. He was very small, and, he took all of that pain and hurt, and he transferred it over to being the best football player he could be in North Carolina. And subsequently, he was a 5-star player and drafted by those Raiders. Nakobe Dean, I mentioned him before. Yes, when he was high school, of course, everybody lies about the height. Okay, they had him listed at 6 foot, 6.5 feet. Listen, I'm almost toe-to-toe with him, and I'm nowhere near 5'11" or 6 foot. But at 5'11", as he was listed in the draft, he was the anchor of that Bulldog defense. And you saw how much he meant to that program in tough situations, preparing for sudden change, players making boo-boos in the middle of the field, not doing their alignment and assignment, things of that nature. He was the leader. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles have got a special hidden gem in the draft in the 3rd round, along with, of course, George Pickens, who's often injured, but 6'5", great speed, 5-star, went to the Steelers. They're so happy to have him. That mattered. So when you start talking about 4 stars and 5 stars and any stars, okay, so give it to those guys, okay, because they evidently the NFL saw their cumulative body of work and said they were definitely one of those guys to get drafted. So you wonder why UGA won the national championship. I'm giving it to you right now. Those 4 stars, the 4 stars, they had 6 4-stars. 6 4-stars. And once again, Jordan Davis is not in that group. He was not a 5-star. He was not a 4-star. So what does that tell you, sports fans? Somebody in that recruiting department and that coaching staff found a way to develop some kids and get them to the optimal level to ability to play for the current national champions. Okay, so when you talk about 4 stars, you talk about James Cook out of Florida. Okay, 4-star, sometimes a 4-star, 5-star, you say tomato, I say tomato. Everybody looks at it differently. For me, yeah, I have a problem trying to figure out what's the difference between a 4-star and a 5-star. but there's the difference between a 5-star and a 3-star. There's definitely a difference. A lot of it might just, you have so many people that want to rank these kids. And unfortunately, there are times when these kids look at this as this is their bread and butter and this is how they're going to make it. Unfortunately for kids, they look at it, and if they're not a 5-star and not a 4-star, sometimes they look down on themselves. And that's one of the things that behooves me to want to try to help kids understand. But it's about the work you do, and you be where your feet are. I heard a wise coach say that one time. I'm going to come back to that. Okay, so when we talk about 4-stars, Devonta Wyatt coming out of the deck, Decatur, Georgia, Towers High School. Now, his path, sports fans, this guy was a 4-star. Listen, he also started at tailback. He also lined up at receiver for Towers High School in Decatur, Georgia. Okay, all right. He had to go to JUCO and get his academic situation straight, but the ability to take that journey and still end up in Athens, evidently Kirby Smart thought something of him. The defensive staff thought that he was a hidden gem. Yes, he had other big offers. Was he a 4-star, 5-star? Who knows? We'll just flip a coin. Quay Walker, I love talking about this kid. Actually, he was flipped. He was an Alabama commit. Kirby Smart was able to shake the trees on him, shake the soul on him, and he ended up in Athens. And his career actually in collegiate football, when people talk about Nakobe Dean, this is the guy he has next to him. And he went in the first round. Sports fans, he went in the first round. What does that tell you? He went in the first round. He was number 22 in the draft. He went first round. Nakobe, the captain of the defense, went third round. We're talking about character building. Okay, yes, the NFL, a lot of that is determined on just needs. Everybody has this wonderful cliche, well, we're going to get what we need, or we're going to get the best player. But, hey, listen, when it's all said and done, you better know those top 5 guys at positions that you need for your team. So when we talk about Quay Walker, who went to the Packers, okay, so the next guy I want to say who also went in the first round, number 32 pick overall, Lewis Seen, went to the Vikings, 4-star. Let me give you a quick tidbit about him, and then I'll move on. Lewis Seen, it was drafted he's picked because he's one of the best zone defenders, okay? Press bail defenders. I mean, he was very effective in his skill set. But here's the thing that I want to tip my hat off and just say congratulations, Coach Smart, because you found out what this young man did well to fit into your defense. And it was magnificent. He did an awesome job. He did enough. Now, he's not 6'3", okay? And you do have some corners at Georgia right now that are 6'3", okay? But this guy was not 6'3", okay? This guy did not run a blistering time in the combine, okay? This guy didn't do all that. All this guy did was show up every day to be the best player and the number 1 defense in the nation. And that's why you had 5 guys go in the first round. Okay, so once we move from James Cook, who was a bruising, speedy running back out of Florida. Okay, let's go further down. And another person that went in the 3rd round, Channing Tyndall, was a 4-star, 4-star recruit. Once again, it's a starter. It's a starter on the defense. Okay, he goes 3rd round in the draft. It goes to the Dolphins. Okay, so the crazy part about this, sports fans, is another 4-star in that group was John Fitzpatrick, tight end, 6'7". That's what he was labeled, a 4-star. Okay. John Fitzpatrick, and you and all I both know that there are 2 other tight ends that play on that team, actually 3, okay, with Arik Gilbert back, who sat out this past season. They had 4 tight ends on that roster, 4, and this young man turns around and gets drafted. Okay, we're talking about later on in the draft. We're talking about being a 6th-round draft pick, but at least he was drafted. So what does that tell you? That tells you somebody, once again, did a magnificent job of developing this young man. I mean, you can't teach height, but he had it. Okay, and he's able to move on to the next level. But more importantly, he was drafted as one of the top players to come out in the 2022 draft. Okay, so now we go down to what we call the baby 3 stars. Okay, here we go. 3-star. Y'all been waiting for this. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. Jordan Davis, 3-star out of North Carolina, 6'6", 360 pounds. People are asking, why did Georgia recruit this kid? It wasn't nothing flashy, but somebody saw something in this young man that I thought he should have been. He could have just very well been a top 10 pick. He just missed it by going 13. But what he has that some of these other kids don't have is he has the ability to run through a 45-degree angle between the center and the guard and make plays. Listen, when you talk about somebody that fast, who cares about the redirection? Yes, he can redirect. Okay, he's a top 15 pick for a reason, but he is very destructive. He doesn't have the 2-gap, not when you're fast through the gaps. And most of your teams in the NFL run zone, gap scheme, zone, inside zone, outside zone. Okay, he disrupts all of that. So another grown man in the NFL they're gonna have to double team him. Okay, because you're not gonna block him by yourself. I don't care what you say. Yes, there's a Hall of Famer that played for University of Georgia by the name of Richard Seymour, who was very good, but he wasn't as huge and as massive as this young man. This young man is huge. Okay, I call him the dancing bear. Yes, I do. I gave him that, and I don't know if anybody else calls him that, but it's a compliment to his agility, his ability to move fast in one direction. And here's the thing about him. I don't consider him heavy hands. Devonta Wyatt is what you call heavy hands. When he touches people, he shakes souls. Okay, but the reality of it is Jordan Davis has got quick hands. There's a difference. Okay, you don't have to worry about the pass rush, because when you 6'6", 350 pounds, I mean, you got quick hands. That is like a martial arts movie on the football field, and each play only lasts between 3.5 and 4.5 seconds. Amen. Amen. 3-star, Jordan Davis, top 15 pick. Okay, so let's go to the next person that they considered a 3-star. A 3-star, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about him. Camarda, the punter. Yes, he didn't get all the love and the credit that everybody else would get, coming out of high school. And a lot of times, punters, special teams guys, they always have to walk on. But guess what? This young man got drafted. Young man got drafted in the 4th round. The Bucks, Tampa Bay Bucks, got a steal. That's my consideration. He's one of the top punters in the league, and I think that he's going to do an awesome job. Where he's going to be the next kid who was a number 3 was Justin Schafer. Cedar Grove High School, went to the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, he's a 3-star, but he had to block 5 stars in practice. People are wondering, why did Quay Walker go up so high? I'm going to leave this with you, and then we're going to get ready to have to get out of here. But I leave these last 2 points. One thing about everybody talking about Aiden Hutchinson, when he played in the big game against the big boys, he had to play against Sawyer and Schafer. He got pancaked several times, and you all saw the game. Go back and look at it. Well, when the scouts go by and cross-check kids that they're going to possibly draft for whatever team those scouts are from, they turned around and put in practice film, 1-on-1 pass rush, things like that, 9-on-7 drills, and they watched Quay Walker destroy. Okay, it's give and take. He has great days and he has bad days. So I'm not going to say he destroyed the offensive lineman from Georgia every day in practice. I'm going to tell you this. They had great battles, okay? But the offensive lineman from Georgia's pancaked Aiden Hutchinson in the bowl game. Leave it right there. Excuse me, the playoff game. You heard me say it. This is from a coach's standpoint, Coach One Sports. Take it or leave it. I'm gonna give you the real, the nitty to the gritty. That's what it was. And he was a better player, 6'5", 275 pounds, running a sub 4.6 at a 4.5, 4.4 for that size. Yes, that's why he was number 1 draft pick. Okay, with all that being said, let me talk about the last 2 things that made the difference. One is the key to why Georgia had so many people. Why did Georgia have so many people drafted? Well, talk about the South. Okay, I'm not knocking other parts of the country, but you have an overabundance of big time players in the South, deep South, you know, uh, uh, deep South, and then moving further out west, you got a big group. All these guys come from places in the South: South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, okay, Alabama, Mississippi. I mean, this is where these guys came from. Okay, now nothing against where the other top players in the nation or even guys that got drafted where they came from. I'm just giving you, when you talk about why did one team have so many players, okay, their coaching staff did a hell of a job identifying the top players in the South. Now, the last reason, and this one that makes me smile, I feel like I'm 6'5" when I say this. Okay, last but not least, why did Georgia get so many people into the draft? 15. Okay. Another thing that was a key part that Georgia was able to do is when you're in one of those hot states like Texas, like Georgia, like Florida, like South Carolina, okay, Alabama, when you're in those hot states, I call it, you have to protect your borders. Coach Smart did a wonderful job of protecting his borders. I'm going to run down this list and I'm going to tell you where these kids are from. But of those 15 kids that were drafted, okay, 8 of them came from Georgia. Okay, they came from Georgia. So with that being said, of course, you have Trayvon Walker, who came from Upson Lee High School. Okay, kudos. Okay, you have Crisp County, Quay Walker. Crisp County now. Okay. Yes, very good program. Upson Lee's been a very good program. So we're talking top of the food chain. That's 2. Okay. So after that, you turn around and you look at some of the other schools. You have Jake, even the punter came from Metro Atlanta, Georgia, Norcross High School. And then, of course, Devonta Wyatt. You know, I smile really big on that name because he's from DeKalb County. Great football player from DeKalb County. School wasn't one of the top, acclaims from being one of the perennial powerhouses in Georgia, but there were a lot of people that tried to take him out of Towers, but he kept allegiance to being where he was from, being the friends he was around, the community, the coaches, the teachers, the administration. So he stayed right there off of 285 in Glenwood. That's right, I said it. All right. So Devonta Wyatt was one of those also in state. And last but not least, let me go ahead and let y'all know, John Fitzpatrick, Marist High School. Woo! Marist been doing it lately. Okay. Kyle Hamilton came from Marist, another first-round draft pick. Okay. And then you have Jamari Sawyer from Pace Academy. Now, originally Jamari, of course, private school, Pace Academy, coached by Chris Slade, former Patriot, former Virginia Cavalier, also state championship coach here in Georgia. That's where Jamari came from. And then you have Justin Schafer, picked by the Atlanta Falcons, of course. From Cedar Grove High School, once again, DeKalb County in the house. Okay, right there off of Boulder Crest. I tell you, those are some magnificent highlight points I wanted to bring to you. Why was Georgia able to get these guys, drafted, all 15 of these guys, the most ever? It comes down to recruiting. Okay, recruiting the areas, attacking where the talent is. Yes, there was other talent. Yes, there are other players going to other schools, but Coach Smart and his staff was able to grab some of the top kids and some top kids in Georgia, as well as the stars. The stars made a difference. Okay. Stars, 5-star, 4-star. And even if you don't believe in that stuff, at the end of the day, that's what you saw. You saw those kids all have one common thought process, and that was to be the best they can be. Okay. And the South. So once again, South ain't dead, y'all. Everything went well. There are other great players in other states, but 15 players, the most ever. Do I think it'll ever be broken? Right now, I'm going to say no, but who knows? One thing about records, they're always meant to be broken. But once again, final analysis, I want to salute Coach Smart for everything he's done down there with those guys. Coach McGee, Coach Lanning, Coach Muschamp also, Coach Trey Scott. I know we got some new coaches on the staff down there in Athens, but hey, I salute you. Great job. Your hard work paid off. Just giving love to the coaches once again. A lot of times it doesn't happen that way, but if you want to find a podcast show that bashes people, you're looking at the wrong one, because nothing but love here. That's why we call it Coach One Sports. So if you enjoyed the show, once again, make sure you subscribe. If you liked it, if you comment, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll make sure I get back to you. Thanks a lot for watching Coach One Sports with yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. We'll see you later.